In the aftermath of the Horus Heresy, the Imperium stood on the precipice of a new dawn. The cataclysm that had torn the galaxy asunder also cleared the path for its rebirth. From the ashes of the old legions, shattered by betrayal and war, would rise new chapters of Adeptus Astartes, a vanguard dedicated to the preservation of the Imperium. Amid this resurgence, a chapter unique in inception and purpose was birthed, not from the lineage of the Primarchs, but from the very essence of the Emperor, the sovereign ruler and psychic beacon of humanity. This chapter, the Grey Knights, emerged as the ultimate weapon against corruption, a stark contrast to their brethren in origin and task. Each warrior, an embodiment of the Emperor's will, bore the mandate to purge the demons, to silence the heretics, and to extinguish the flames of corruption that threatened to engulf worlds. In the quiet before the storm, humanity, naive and unwary, stood on the edge of an unseen abyss. The ruinous powers, malevolent entities of chaos and corruption, lurked in the shadows of existence, biding their time, their dark intent hidden from the eyes of man. These terrifying beings, architects of despair, had long woven their insidious threads through the fabric of humanity's fate, preparing to plunge the galaxy into an era of unfathomable turmoil. It was during the tumultuous era of the Horus Heresy, a civil war that would scar humanity, that the War Master Horus Lupercal fell into the clutches of corruption. The very fabric of reality, the Immaterium, became a battleground, as its conniving denizens sought to enthrall the minds of the Imperium's mightiest. The Astartes, unparalleled warriors, stood defiant in the face of darkness, yet even they were not immune to chaos's insidious taint. In a tragic twist of fate, they became both humanity's greatest defenders and its most dire adversaries. With the veil lifted, the warp's creatures preyed mercilessly upon the souls of the Imperium. Amidst this darkness, a beacon of hope emerged from within the ranks of the Astartes themselves. The librarians, wielders of the Immaterium's arcane energies, turned the very power of their foes against them, striking back with the warp's own might. Yet the path of the sorcerer is fraught with peril. For every space marine that dared to harness the Immaterium's power, the risk of falling to the warp's corruption loomed large, ensnaring even the purest among the space marines. The Master of Mankind, alongside his sagacious advisor, Malcador the Sigillite, recognized the need for a new vanguard against this unspeakable evil. From the ashes of betrayal and war, the Knights Errant were forged. An assembly of warriors, drawn from every corner of the Space Marine chapters, stood as a shield against the darkness. Clad in the unadorned gray of anonymity, they waged a silent war against the warp's spawn, cleansing the galaxy of its vile blight. The saga did not end with the fall of the War Master. From the ashes of conflict, the Knights Errant emerged as a new order, the Grey Knights. In the silent reaches of space, hidden from the prying eyes of the Imperium, the Emperor had prepared a concealed fortress monastery on Titan, the moon of Saturn. Here the Grey Knights would dwell in isolation, their existence a closely guarded secret. Beyond the knowledge of even their brethren in arms, the other Space Marine chapters, they stand apart, known only to a select few through circumstance and necessity. Malcador had brought 8 Space Marines to the fortress, who would become the founding members known as the Titans. For those first days he guided the 8 in the formation of the Grey Knights, overseeing the awakening of the Great Citadel and its new chapter. The Sigillite selected Janus from among the 8 to continue the work he had begun. So it was that Janus became the first Supreme Grand Master of the Grey Knights. Within the sanctum of their hidden world, the Grey Knights amassed not only arms and warriors, but also the esoteric knowledge of ages past. In his final act of protection, Malcador enshrouded Titan in a veil of psychic energy, rendering it invisible to both the material universe and the malevolent gaze of the warp. For centuries, this citadel existed in a realm apart, untouched by the chaos that engulfed the galaxy. While empires fell and wars raged in the material world, the Grey Knights were ensconced within their timeless refuge, honing their skills, their perception of time altered by the protective bubble that encased their home. When they finally emerged from their isolation, untouched by the scars of war, the Grey Knights were a force reborn, ready to manifest the final wishes of their martyred creator and the silent will of the God Emperor, now interred upon the Golden Throne. The Grey Knights emerged as the arm of the Holy Inquisition, guardians of the Emperor's decree. Their alliance with the Inquisition's numerous orders cemented a bond forged in the fires of duty, a united front against the heresies that threatened the sanctity of the Imperium. The Grey Knights, in acceptance of their solemn charge, became the martial might of the Ordo Malleus, champions against the daemonic incursions that sought to unravel the fabric of reality. Veiled in secrecy and dubbed the 666th chapter of the Astartes, their deeds would be enshrined in the annals of terror, away from the gaze of the uninitiated. With the Inquisition as their harbinger, they ventured forth into the void, to the twin moons of Yerm and the realms of the Vaus system, purging the taint that sought to corrupt the galaxy's soul. Yet the chronicles of these initial crusades would be cloaked in silence, their victories and sacrifices redacted from imperial records, preserving the mystery of the 666th chapter as they waged their silent war against the darkness. The Grey Knights, born of the Emperor's own unparalleled genius in genetics and psychic mastery, emerged as the quintessential elite of the Adeptus Astartes. Their creation was not solely a triumph of physical augmentation, which rendered them titans among men, nor was it defined by their mastery over the most lethal armaments known to the Imperium. Beyond these martial virtues, they were imbued with an intrinsic purity of heart and an unassailable fortitude of mind, rendering them impervious to the warp's seductive corruption. To confront the nightmarish entities of the demon realms, mere physical prowess or proficiency in conventional warfare was deemed insufficient. The Grey Knights were thus forged to be paragons of psychic integrity, wielding the very energies of the Immaterium with an ironclad will. Each brother-in-arms stood as a formidable psyker, trained to harness the warp's volatile power, turning its malevolent forces against the daemons themselves. The peril of navigating the psychic currents of the warp is well documented, a realm where the merest slip in concentration can lead to ruin, ensnaring the unwary in a maelstrom of madness and despair. Many psykers succumb to its call, their minds shattered by the horrors they witness. Yet the Grey Knights stand as luminous exceptions in this dark panorama. Their souls, unblemished, their resolve, unbreakable. They navigate the tempest of the warp, a beacon of purity amidst the chaos. Their psychic prowess eclipses even that of the storied librarians of their fellow chapters, who, despite their own considerable gifts, tread a perilous path, ever vigilant against the demon's whisper. The Grey Knights, however, do not merely resist the warp's allure, they dominate it. To the vile creatures that dwell within that eldritch dimension, a Grey Knight does not appear as prey, but as anathema. Though they number but a few against the galaxy's sprawling expanse and its myriad threats, the impact of the Grey Knights on the field of battle is disproportionate to their scarcity. A single squad of these peerless warriors can alter the course of conflicts that would otherwise doom worlds. In the face of such beings, the manifold enemies of the Emperor find their numbers, no matter how overwhelming, to be a futile advantage. Against the might and purity of a Grey Knight, they falter and fall. In the eternal war against the demonic incursions that threaten the fabric of reality, the Grey Knights were armed with the most formidable weapons and armor the galaxy has to offer. Through ancient pacts with the Mechanicus of Mars, and even through rare and cautious alliances with Xenos entities, the 666th chapter secures armaments whose power eclipses the standard arsenal of the Space Marine. Among their vaunted arsenal stands the Psycannon, a dread instrument of war inscribed with runes and loaded with sanctified bolter rounds designed to tear asunder the very essence of demonkind with an efficacy unmatched by conventional heavy bolters. The Incinerator, another pinnacle of their unique weaponry, enhances the destructive flame of a traditional flamer with promethium mixed with hallowed soils, crafting a weapon ideally suited to purging the immaterial taint from reality. Yet, It is the Nemesis Force weapons that truly epitomize the Grey Knight's unparalleled might. These sacred arms, each attuned to the psychic signature of its wielder, range from power swords and halberds to fists, hammers, and spears. Sanctified in consecrated oils and etched with runes of demon bane, these weapons were first conceived by the Emperor himself, their inception predating even the Wars of Unification. It is said that the initial Nemesis weapons were wrought by the Emperor's hand, a legacy that has since been propagated to arm the Sentinels of Titan. The true measure of a Nemesis weapon's might is symbiotically linked to its bearer, its devastating potential unleashed fully only in the hands of those who have mastered their psychic prowess. For a neophyte, its power, though formidable, is but a glimmer of what it could be. Yet as a Grey Knight ascends through the ranks, gaining experience and strength, so too does his weapon evolve, its lethal efficacy growing with each trial and tribulation. In the hands of the chapter's most venerable warriors, a Nemesis weapon becomes a force of divine retribution, capable of slaying even the most formidable demon princes with a single, decisive blow. In the Grey Knight's sanctified halls lies a weapon of unparalleled potency, not forged from metal or suffused with psychic energy, but composed of knowledge. This weapon, the meticulously compiled lexicon of true names, holds dominion over the demons of the warp. To know the true name of a demon is to possess absolute authority over it, a fact that underscores the singular importance of these archives to the Grey Knight's sacred mission. Every demon, from the least of the warp's spawn to the mightiest champions of chaos, is vulnerable to the power of its true name. Spoken aloud, these primordial titles have the power to bind or banish their bearers back to the nightmarish realms from which they were spawned. It falls upon the Grey Knights, then, to commit these names to memory, to learn and recite them as both shield and sword against the darkness. No physical weapon, not even the legendary blade of the Emperor or the ancient anatheme, holds the capacity to annihilate the immaterial essence of a demon as thoroughly as the utterance of its true name. Thus, the Grey Knight's quest to expand and refine their archives is not merely an academic pursuit, but a vital crusade against the ever-present threat of chaos. The 666 words of banishment represent the apex of this arcane arsenal. To master these words is to wield a power unmatched in the galaxy, a feat achieved by only the first Supreme Grandmaster of the Grey Knights, Janus. The peril of this quest cannot be overstated. For a mere mortal to glimpse even a fragment of these words is to court madness, the alien nature of their construction an affront to human cognition. The Grey Knights, even with their psychic resilience and rigorous mental conditioning, tread a path fraught with peril. The knowledge they seek a double-edged sword that could, in lesser hands, wreak havoc upon the wielder. Among the vast legions of the Emperor's Space Marines, the Grey Knights stand as the sole bearers of the Imperium's darkest truths. They possess an unparalleled understanding of the warp, its demonic inhabitants, and the existential threat they pose to real space. While other chapters and the broader Imperial forces may engage in skirmishes against the manifestations of the warp, their understanding of such foes is cursory at best. The Grey Knights, in contrast, are the custodians of the Ordo Malleus's deepest secrets concerning the existence of demons and the methodologies to annihilate them. The existence of this elite chapter is hidden in the highest levels of secrecy, known only to a select few within the Inquisition and the upper echelons of the Imperium. Beyond these circles, knowledge of the Grey Knights is virtually non-existent. This tradition of silence traces its origins to a decree by the Emperor, preceding even the Great Crusade, wherein the existence of chaos and its demonic legions was to remain a secret affair, known solely to the Emperor. The tumult of the Horus Heresy would inadvertently lay bare this secret, compelling the newly formed Inquisition to adopt a policy mirroring the Emperor's original edicts. The rationale behind this secrecy is twofold: to shield the Imperium's citizenry from the corrupting influence of chaos, and to stifle the spread of its insidious dogma. If humanity did not know they existed, then it could not sow fear or malevolence. As such, Any unauthorized glimpse into the existence of the Grey Knights, or worse, chaos itself, mandates the most extreme of measures, ranging from mind-wiping to the wholesale execution of those exposed, up to the catastrophic decree of exterminatus for entire worlds compromised by such forbidden knowledge. Thus, to encounter a Grey Knight is to face an imminent death sentence, whether at the hands of the demonic forces that necessitate their arrival, or by the Grey Knight's own measures to maintain their secret existence. Only they are deemed impervious to the seductions of chaos, a fortress of will amidst a sea of susceptibility. Among the Grey Knights, not one has ever succumbed to the seductions of chaos or betrayed the Emperor's trust, resonating as a testament to their unmatched purity. Inquisitorial scholars, perplexed by the Grey Knight's enduring purity, have penned volumes exploring this phenomenon. Central to these deliberations is the unique constitution of the Grey Knight's gene seed, reputedly endowed with the Emperor's own immaculate DNA. This theory suggests a level of inherent purity unattainable by others, yet the history of the Imperium bear witness to the tragic fall of several Primarchs. Despite their own creation from the Emperor's genetic legacy, these paragons of humanity's potential were not immune to the corrupting whispers of chaos, casting doubt on the infallibility of genetic purity alone as a safeguard against corruption. Another perspective is that the Grey Knight's purity is not merely a gift of their gene seed, but is actively maintained through a constant practice of virtuous thought and action. Despite exhaustive debate and inquiry, the exact nature of the Grey Knight's immunity to corruption remains elusive, a mystery veiled perhaps by the very will of the Emperor. Amidst the swirling chaos that engulfs the galaxy, where malevolent entities seek to unravel the very fabric of reality, the Grey Knights stand as humanity's final shield. In the shadowy margins of existence, they wage a war that goes unnoticed by the myriad souls they strive to protect. It is a solitary burden, carrying the weight of the Imperium's survival against the ceaseless tide of corruption and malice. To the unseeing eye, it might seem that those who battle in obscurity, removed from the light of gratitude or recognition, might question the value of their silent sacrifice. Yet, under the vigilant gaze of the Emperor, it is clear, the Grey Knights do not contend for their own glory, but for the future of humanity itself. Their fight is not born of ambition, but of a solemn duty to safeguard the imperiled souls of the Imperium. This concludes today's chapter from the archives. Please like and subscribe if you want more. Leave a comment on which chapter we should reveal from the archives next. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider making a purchase of mini block figurines from my shop linked below.